should have happened maybe as soon as they acknowledged that would have helped?
Well, yes. I mean, had they said to me, at the time you need to do a leak allowance form, I would have done it. And when the leak was fixed, I would send it in. But some idiot said to me, do a meter reading and we'll send it in. And they say they have no recollection of me ever ringing in with a meter reading.
How are you feeling at the moment about all of this?
I feel very disappointed with Thames Water, and I have no faith in them. I think they're shambolic, to be honest.
Philip from Henley chatting to me the other day. So we have been in touch with Thames Water to see what they have to say for this, and they've supplied this statement, which has been read by one of my colleagues.
We're very sorry to Mr. Willis for the recent large bill and service he has received when trying to resolve this. Our customer services team are carefully reviewing his case and have confirmed that a suspected leak and delayed meter reading led to the high bill. We aim to read meters at least once a year and are sorry that this hasn't been the case for Mr. Willis. While we rectify the issue, we have paused billing on his account, and once we apply the leak allowance, we will adjust his bill. We will also be applying a goodwill payment to Mr. Willis's account for the inconvenience caused when resolving this matter.
Yeah, so I think that's some good news. We'll get Philip on later, maybe, and try and work out what he thinks to that. A little bit of good news for you, Philip, I hope there. So, what is happening here? It's interesting how often this kind of story comes across our desks here at BBC Radio Berkshire. Scott Dixon is a consumer expert and runs the Complaints Resolver Facebook page. Morning, Scott.
Good morning, Phil.
Yeah, is Philip's case unusual?
I don't think it is, and I mean, there's clearly been a breakdown in communications, and it is appalling customer service. And the problem with many firms, Phil, is they make it so difficult to speak to anyone about issues or put customers at the heart of their business. And this points back to COVID, and COVID was seen as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to change the way firms communicate with their customers and push everything online. And they simply don't consider providing good customer service as a necessity, or have staff that are sufficiently trained or prioritise vulnerable customers. And I looked on Thames Water website and I can't find any telephone contact details, and they ought to have multi-channel communications in place to accommodate all customers, instead of relentlessly pushing everyone online. And I mean, it alienates vulnerable and elderly customers who may not have a laptop or smartphone or do anything online.
It's really interesting because actually Philip was saying there how for a while there he was actually getting very good customer service, and somebody had seemed to take it on personally and was regularly updating him, but then suddenly those updates stopped. I'm just quite interested to know what you should do if, like Philip, you suddenly discover there is a leak, because as we were saying, there's this responsibility, isn't there, that up to the meter, especially if you have a meter, then it's Thames Water's responsibility. But once the meter, the bit between there and your house, in theory, is your own responsibility. But then we hear about these big leaks. So, yeah, what should we be doing?
Well, I mean, in Phil's case, I think he's done everything right, and it's Thames Water that has let him down. This has been going on for years, and this should have been flagged at an early stage. And Phil is a priority customer, so he could have registered. Well, he should have registered for priority services, where you can sign up for extra support, and specially trained staff are there to assist in those cases. But equally, Thames Water should have identified that Phil is an elderly and vulnerable customer and should have flagged this at an early stage.
Scott, interesting stuff. Thank you so much for coming on and adding some wise words to that. Scott Dixon, consumer expert who runs the Complaints Resolver Facebook page. Have you been caught out in a situation similar like this? Then 08000 32